listener, wherever you are out there, sit down with us for a new edition of Worst to First.
Sit down.
Yeah, you do have to sit. That's a non-negotiable. We appreciate a warm, cozy environment. And if you're wondering, or maybe you know because you're a regular, that was the voice of Bass Daddy. Bass Daddy is here along for the ride, and he's also joining me with Matt. Typical group. We're excited about everything going on. Guys, I say it a lot, but honestly, it just gets me through some of these dog days of summer, knowing that football's here. And there's just a little tickle on that ball sack when you read, Will Levis is performing poorly in training. That's a made-up storyline. I don't know if that's real or not, but just those little inklings, knowing that some of them really aren't even going to play out that way when the real action starts, and it's kind of that game of guessing what's real and what's not, which we will get into later in this show when we play a little vibe check game as camp begins, talk about some of the teams we either are feeling good about, maybe we feel are under the radar, and vice versa, teams we think are headed in the wrong direction. But we start with the biggest news going through the NFL right now. That's Justin Herbert, his 5-year contract extension with the Los Angeles Chargers. It was for $262.5 million, record-setting annual salary of about $52.5 million. So we all kind of saw that this was coming. Was it going to be him first, Burrow? It was Herbert, which is good news for Burrow. It means he's just going to pass him very soon. But I give it to you right now, Matt. Your initial takeaway, or maybe your forward-thinking thoughts as Herbert joins that class of QBs with Hurts and Lamar and Mahomes and Allen and all those guys who have got that fat check.
Look, I get it, right? I mean, he's the next guy in line. I feel like he deserves it. I know I'm going to probably hear some rebuttal on that, but I mean, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, let alone arm talent. I think he deserves it, man. And I get it. We can't be too tough on the guy for the results that he's had, maybe as a team, because again, he plays for the LA Chargers. Mm-hmm. He's got Brandon Staley as a head coach, man. That's just some balls and chains that you got linked onto you that, what are you going to do?
I don't
like the best of the best are going to struggle in that situation. So, I mean, you know what? It was his time. He deserves it. He's going to be passed by Burrow. I don't know when he's due up for his. Probably here very soon.
Paid his big deal.
This will be old news before you know it. So
Garoppolo
right now,
got a real big chunk of change. And, now you got Herbert. I'm not paying a quarterback and making him the highest paid player in the NFL if they have 250 passing yards and 1 touchdown in the postseason. That's all he's got.
I hear what you're saying, man. But I don't know that we can.
I know the defense is a big problem.
Yeah. I mean, we can't compare him to Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't feel like that's necessarily fair. I mean, really.
How are they going to fix the defense?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's not his. It's not up to him. If you have a generational talent at quarterback, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to do what you can to secure. Brandon Staley is supposed to be a defensive head coach. That shouldn't be an issue, am I right?
I don't know. All I know is they blew that, 27-point lead against Jacksonville. I'm not, like I said, it's not all on him, but if I'm him, I'm saying, hey, I think we're good enough to make it to the postseason. Why don't we pay a couple of better guys on defense? Why don't we get Eckler some money? Eckler touches the ball about every damn play. And let's maybe try to not blow 30-point leads in the postseason. That's how I feel about that. Joe Burrow, when his time's up, he deserves every fucking penny for doing what he's done with one of the worst offensive lines. Been sacked the most, been hit the most. He's got great weapons. But that's a quarterback coming up that I can see that actually deserves the money. Mahomes deserved every penny. He deserves more. Yeah, Mahomes deserves a lot more than what he's getting paid. All I'm saying is Lamar Jackson didn't deserve shit. I don't think Herbert deserves shit. I don't think Russell Wilson deserved what he got. Geno Smith, I mean, I don't know. That's my take on it.
The Burrow thing, that is part of the reason why this happened so fast, because the Chargers I'm speaking of, they were racing the Bengals here. And on the Cincinnati side, it's not as urgent because okay, Burrow deserves to be paid more than Herbert does based on what they've done so far. But, if Burrow was the one who got his deal done, well, now the Chargers have to give him even more. And so I understand why they did it. Like, what else? Who are you going to get that's any better? You're not going to get anyone better than Herbert. But that doesn't mean that it's going to work out in their favor because he hasn't done anything in the big moments yet. He hasn't won a playoff game. Not all his fault, no, but
It's just hard for me to justify making a player the highest paid quarterback in NFL history when in his 3 4 years as in the league, he's got one passing touchdown and 250 yards in the postseason.
well,
That's just what's tough for me.
this is one that I want to say first off, I believe Herbert is better than both of these players. But you guys know the last two, I heard this from Nick Wright, I believe, the last two quarterbacks to become the highest paid player without ever winning a playoff game. Do you know who those names are? Even one of the two names? I'll tell you the most recent
Rowe,
one, if you don't know.
I don't know.
Kyler Murray last
Okay.
year, and then before that it was Carson Wentz. So you're kind of nitpicking there, but those are two guys. They got those big contracts, and one of them for sure didn't work out, and the other one definitely looks to be on the way to also being a failure. Again, Herbert's better in my eyes, but
Mm-hmm.
this team was already really pushing their chips in the last 2 years, getting older players, making financial moves to keep Keenan Allen, who is washed at best. And, you fast forward another year or two down the road, I don't know how they put pieces around Herbert. And even with the pieces around him, what has it gotten him? It hasn't gotten him anywhere. So I'm a little bit like, if I'm predicting forward, I kind of think the Chargers are going to become this mid, 9-8, 10-7 team, 7-10 every single year because he is very good, but I don't see the team getting
But
better.
but to compete in that division against Mahomes, they're going to have a better defense.
Right. Well, if nothing else, he can be very, very happy. I would. I mean, shit. What wouldn't you do to
It's
have
great for
that
him. It's great for
contract?
the Chiefs fans. Yeah.
But speaking of a quarterback who actually took money out of his pocket, we just got the news here about 30 minutes ago that Aaron Rodgers took a massive, unheard of pay cut. I actually think this is hilarious the way that Adam Schefter worded this. You could tell the agent for Rodgers just told Schefter, like, hey, please say this to make our guy look good. Because Rodgers has been questioned in the past for, like, maybe not putting his Packers in a position to have the best team around him. Schefter says Aaron Rodgers voluntarily took a $35 million pay cut on his 2-year deal with the Jets. This will allow the Jets to acquire more talent than they would have under the contract they assumed from Green Bay in April. No team sport player is thought to have revised his contract in such a team-focused way in the past. So just really stroking him off, trying to get the message across, like, hey, Aaron is a team player. He is a guy who's willing to help. And I mean, honestly, he put his money where his mouth is. He is. He took $35 million off of his check for the next 2 years. What do we think about this one, Matt? Is this going to be something that actually contributes to more winning for the Jets, or is it just kind of like fluff for us to, tip our cap to Rodgers a little bit, or maybe you don't. I don't know. You may just think he's an idiot for this.
I mean, I don't, in the long term, no, I don't really think it's going to move the needle that much. Do I think maybe, yeah, like you said, a fluff piece, maybe, to pump himself up in the media, maybe, do a little PR work, get back at Shefty, I mean, I think him and Rappaport and all them, they kind of beef as is. So, no, I don't think it's really going to impact things in the long term. But, right now, sure, it makes you look good. Do I think it's necessarily the Best move for him? I don't know. But maybe a little bit petty. Just, kind of stick it to the Packers one more time.
Rodgers knows that he's not getting any better. He's only getting older. So I think with him agreeing to take this kind of a pay cut, I would think that he would want to see results now, not later. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I think that with that defense, Aaron Rodgers, if he can just take decent care of the ball, I can see him winning that division.
They
What do you guys think they're going to do with that extra money, though?
I was thinking like a lineman or something. I know they got the wideouts that they need. The defense is great.
and I don't know if
I mean,
the benefit is. I don't know how it all plays with the cap. Like, are they getting a bunch of money this year? Is it all next year? But if nothing
But
else,
don't you think Rodgers would have been more hesitant agreeing on it if it wasn't going to benefit the team right now?
he
Because I don't know.
you would think so. I just wonder though, who can you get right now? I guess there's a trade market. It is hard to find a weakness on the team that they just have to get filled. If anything, it
Yeah,
probably is on the offensive line. I think the offensive line is kind of the thing that is going to make or break the season because regardless of what you think about Aaron, if he doesn't get good blocking, it's just not going to work out. Um,
you got to keep him clean. He can't get dirty.
well, and he's got that whatever it was last year, the thumb. He got that thumb a little bit out of socket. He got the thumb out of socket, and it showed with obviously a worse season than he's had in a while. But Matt,
I seen a picture of him. Yeah, I seen a picture of him earlier in the Jets uniform, and his helmet's way too fucking big, and his jersey's like a half sleeve, and it said like it looks like Aaron Rodgers is wearing like a kid's Halloween costume.
yeah, he's got
It
the
was great.
Franklin costume set that we all had at some point when we were very very young. Those uniforms weren't too bad though, and I say that as someone who really just despises the Jets' normal uniform. And they're going to be wearing them, I believe, week 1 against the Bills and week 4 against the Chiefs. So they're breaking them out when it
wow.
matters most. Um,
Good time to wear them for a couple losses.
yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the beauty of this time of the season. We start to imagine, we start to visualize that Monday nighter with the Bills and the Jets. It's going to be crazy on the heels of whatever else happens week 1. And
Jets swept him last year with Zach Wilson.
right, there is something there. I think there's a matchup. The Jets can rush Josh Allen with consistency, and it'll just kind of show you. It'll set the tone for the whole season on that Monday night. Are the Jets really? Are they going to be a problem? Or if they lose that game, I'm not saying it ends your season, but after sweeping the Bills last year, it would be a discouraging start to the Rodgers era. I don't think there's any way to argue that this contract adjustment doesn't help. Like, it certainly doesn't hurt the Jets to have those funds back and they're available spending. So,
Yeah. Am I the only one in this that feels like it's an overreaction? Like, let me just show you how good of a guy and how much of a problem I'm not. You know what I mean? Based on just the storylines that have come out over the past few seasons, it feels like one of those moves to me.
He might have just done it to get back at the Packers, just to make him look like shit. To make it seem like he was, the great guy all along. I don't know, but
Yeah, and it was your fault. That's why I didn't do it. That sort of thing. Yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
there's some agendas underneath. I also think it reminds me of Brady with the Bucks. When he signed the 2-year deal with the Bucks, he could have got a lot more money than he did, but he also valued winning, and they built a super team around him. And this gives, because let's be honest, the AFC it's brutal. No team is going to easily run through it, and so odds are the Jets aren't going to make the Super Bowl. They might, but they got a long way to go. And so next year seems like Rodgers is planning to play. He's liking the vibes. Gives him another crack at it, maybe. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Just one little something to put a linchpin in. Guys, moving forward, we are going to do our vibe check. Just talking about a couple teams, maybe one or two from each of us that we feel really good about as camp begins. Maybe it's a report you saw, certain player in the best shape of his life, or maybe on the opposite end of it, a team that you think is perhaps being a little overhyped. Maybe they had an injury. I don't know. But I am going to let Bass Daddy start. You get the pick of the litter, man. And I don't really, whatever direction you want to go. Maybe if it's the team that you think you're feeling good about or bad, either way, the carpet is yours.
Well, I'm looking at the Colts.
Indy.
Yeah, I've seen. Obviously they're going to have their hands full with Jacksonville in that division. Everybody else in that division, in my opinion, is extremely beatable. But you got those teams every year that you're just thinking like, they, don't stand a fucking chance. They got so-and-so team in their division. And then I don't think they beat Jacksonville in that division, but I think that, Anthony Richardson, I think he starts. And I think he has a solid rookie year, maybe win 8 games in the young offense.
Bass, have you been listening to Bryan? That sounds like something he would say. He's been like this Anthony Richardson guy. He's going to be a big deal. I feel like you've been suckered in by B-Man.
No, I just like some of the videos, and I don't know. I think he's going to be good.
I have not
Colts
said
marks. I get it.
anything to Bass Daddy or anyone else really about the Colts.
You said it on this podcast.
Did I? A long time ago.
Yeah, you did. You're like Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to be the upside. He's going to be the guy.
Well, he does, and that's the thing. He's such a freak that he doesn't even have to be like the greatest quarterback for the next 10 years, but he could have a really good first year just because, damn, he's going to be harder to tackle. He's going to be, he's got that live arm where he's going to probably take some chances he maybe shouldn't, but he's still going to work out because he can zip it in there with the best of them. Uncle Rico's level. And so they were
kind of like a Michael Vick, except like Herbert from the waist up.
Yeah, he's just different.
I don't know how big his penis is, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about speed and agility, and then the upper body, the arm strength of Herbert.
I was going to say, do you have experience with Michael Vick? I don't understand.
Yeah, I see. He had a decent bulge when he played for Pittsburgh, but I really can't remember what it looked like.
I forgot he played for Pittsburgh. That's
he played some games too, some real live action.
Yeah,
they have Steichen, who has already proven he can cater the offense to a quarterback with a different skill set. So I don't think it's that crazy. Now, am I picking them to make the playoffs as it sits today? No, I'm not.
No.
I think it's just too hard to squeeze into one of those wild card spots, and they're very,
especially in the AFC.
Right. I mean, it's tough, but if the owner can keep his nose out of business on the field and keep it in that white powder that he's definitely accustomed to, all bets are off. They could have a solid season, something they could build on into 2024. I got no problem with that pick. Matt, your turn.
All right, guys. Not to be biased, but I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to take Kansas City here, right? All right. There's a lot of things, a lot of rumblings going around. What do you think about Mahomes saying this is the beginning of a dynasty? What do you think about people comparing them to the 90s Bulls? Could they be that of the football world? Brian, you've been sending me text messages about these young receivers, and I like what I see. I think they're going to do it again. I think they're going to be one of those teams at the tippy top, and I know everyone's saying that already, but I'm going to go even further than that. They're doing it again. They're doing it again. Chris Jones or not, they're doing it again.
Is it as in it? You mean they're going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl?
They're winning. They're winning it, running it back again.
It was an early call. You didn't even let the oven preheat. You didn't let the skillet start to boil. You just going for it, man. And
that's the thing.
You didn't even turn on the damn stove.
That's the thing. You don't have to. That's how hot this fire is. The thing is, if I don't say it now, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to say it in the middle of the season at some point, one time or another. I got to say it early. Otherwise, it's just talking to be talking. You know what I mean?
Well, they are the odds-on Vegas favorite, so there are going to be plenty of people who say it between now and kickoff. Um, if I want to play devil's advocate, I would say, okay, what about Tony? Now they say he might be back for the start of the season, but
That's to be
it's a
expected, is it
discouraging
not?
thing.
Like, I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, you sit there and look. You say, well, he should have a great year, and he should have, but he's hurt again, and it's probably never going to stop. So I guess maybe what you were trying to say there is there's other receivers prepared to step up.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Time will
Some younger
tell.
guys, some draft picks, the Justin Ross fellow. That's what I'm saying. Somebody's going to pan out. And Tony, he'll probably be a little bit, I hate to say it, I hope it's not true, little Sammy Watkins
Oh,
esque
he
the way
already
things are shaping
is.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, you give and you take with that. So, probably nothing too bold there, but you know what? It's about as bold as you can get, I feel like, at this time of year.
Yeah, he when Tony was starting to do the things with the Giants fans on like Twitter and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, God, do I even want this guy to be our number one? Because this just doesn't seem the type of player that you want to pay a big load of money to one day. I
Mm-hmm.
like him a lot, and I think he's talented as all get out, but he just, there's some maturing maybe there still to be done.
You can look at Tony, you can look at his tattoos, you can look at his teeth, and by that, I mean, he's going to be an issue. Am I wrong?
It's playing out, unfortunately,
Come
to
on.
where I don't know that he's an issue like in the locker room. It doesn't seem that's the case. He's got them Twitter fingers. He can't really let things go. He's too agitated, and then the injuries pile on top of that because now he's got downtime and he's distracted.
Mm.
I went way off there on the Tony thing.
Valid points to be brought up, so don't apologize.
Well, and what I was really trying to get to is I almost think the injury in the long term, as in over the course of this full season and beyond, could turn out to be a good thing because it's going to give that opportunity for somebody, whoever it is, to kind of claim that throne that actually is the type of guy that you want to lead the room and maybe one day pay
Mm-hmm.
a lot of money to. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll see, Matt. I mean, look,
I know it's not bold, but it's bold. You know what I mean? I gotta shoot something. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
Otherwise, what are we doing? This isn't the stay safe podcast. You know what I mean? It's worst to first. It's either gonna crash and burn. I'm going to the tippy top yet again.
yeah. Stay safe for the mornings only. Okay, well, so you boys both went with teams that you're feeling pretty good about right now. I'm actually, part of me wants to flip it right now.
Flip it.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if this is a great pick, but it's vibes, right? This is just how I
Yeah.
feel about the situation. And that is the Dolphins, which
Mm-hmm.
this is bound to change at any moment because they're so stacked. But I was like listening to some of the stats from last year. They were very streaky. They started so hot, and then they went through a massive lull, and then they got hot again at the end of the year. And of course, it all kind of correlates with Tua's health. But all this talk about the superstars on that team, I just wonder a little if they're going to be able to contain those personalities. And I think it's really hard when you have the quarterback like Tua, who's not an alpha. He's not the voice of the room. No matter what they say, no matter how much Tyreek says he's the best quarterback in the league, deep down they all know it's not true. And to me, that's like if I'm Oppenheimer, and I'm putting together chemical combinations here, I think that can be very, very, dangerous when you have that QB. If things don't start good early, They play New England week 1, or maybe it's not week 1. I can't remember exactly. It's one of the first couple weeks. Things get off to a rocky start, and fingers start pointing. Tyreek, he's already said he wants 2,000 yards. So if he's not getting the ball, or Waddle is, and Jalen Ramsey, we already know he's kind of a personality. I don't know. And then you got Tyreek today saying, when asked about, when he goes in the Hall of Fame, which team is he going to go in as, which is not even a thing in the NFL. You don't go in with a team. He said the Dolphins, which honestly, I don't even care that he said that. That's fine. But I thought it was one more example of like maybe his head being in a weird space to even answer the question that way. He's very focused on himself. And yeah, so in this AFC that is unbelievably stacked, this seems like a team that I'm worried they're just not going to hit the expectations, and they're going to get jacked in the jaw one time. It might be Rodgers' cock or whoever, and it's going to be enough to really cause issues.
Yeah, I mean, you make some valid points. I didn't even know about the 2,000-yard comment or the Hall of Fame comment. He just keeps spouting off erratic things. But what are they going to do when the inevitable happens? Obviously Tua's not going to make the full season. I hate to say it. It's just not going to happen, right? What are they going to do at that point? Who'd they sign as a backup? I don't remember.
Mike White.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fun. Mike F and White. But I mean, is that your guy that's going to cover it up and make it happen for you?
It could be worse.
I don't know,
but it could.
In a tough AFC, Dolphins, I don't feel like they're going to make the postseason. I think they'll have sporadic times, until Tua hits the turf and becomes brain dead. And then they got to cancel another game halfway through. But what I'm thinking, I was going to mention these guys earlier, but Detroit Lions.
Okay.
This year in the first round, adding them a linebacker, adding them a running back. They're a well-coached team. Their division's a cakewalk. Keep an eye out for the Lions, motherfuckers.
So that's one you're feeling real good about.
I've been feeling them. I've been feeling them for like a year and a half now, but I'm kind of getting a little nervous, to be honest with you. Like, are they going to crumble under all this pressure? They're almost expected to be good at this point. That feels like a dangerous territory for Dan Campbell. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got the Vikings losing Dalvin Cook.
It kind of started.
The Bears and Justin Fields. And then you got. I mean.
No, I hear you 100%. It's going to be a total shoot themselves in the foot type thing if anything like that happens. But it just feels a little scary, being like trying to count on these guys. I like them as that underdog position.
I like to keep the nightlight on. It's a little scary. But.
It's just Detroit. They're not front runners. And the good thing is in the grand scheme of things, it's not like they're being predicted to win Super Bowls by anybody. But even winning the division, I guess
give it time. I think give it time.
Gone, but
they win that division and get a home game in the playoffs in Detroit, Ford Field. They can put up a lot of points. They could be a team that can make some noise. I know the AFC stacked.
Yeah, valid point. Maybe that's it. Maybe my expectations are. I'm thinking too highly for the fans and the world at large. Thinking too far down the road, at championships and things of that nature. And really, like you said, they're just looking at a playoff game and winning one at home.
Yeah,
it's nothing too crazy. So I don't know. Maybe you're onto something there, Bass.
And ultimately, it comes down to what do you believe about Dan Campbell? Do you think he's in those meeting rooms? And we kind of saw it on Hard Knocks last year. I feel like he does a pretty good job of suppressing them and making them know, like, no, we're the Detroit Lions. We fucking suck. But we are doing everything we can to get good, and we're still not quite there yet. And I think he's going to be the voice that the players hear, hopefully, to say, hey, no, I know the hype's out there, and if you turn on NFL Network and ESPN, you're going to hear it. But I understand we still haven't done anything yet. So,
and deep down, Dan Campbell knows they're not going to do anything. The players know that
And it's a
They're not
a
going to
golf
be able to
thing.
do it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Interesting points. Interesting points.
Sure. Here's another one to consider that
Hit
I
me.
don't feel good about right now. It's the Rams. Getting the news that McVay is expecting a child here in the next couple months, mid-season. Said he spent his whole offseason preparing for that. That's his game plan right now, is how is he going to wipe this ass and deal with the sleep deprivation, all those different obstacles. Guys, tell me if I'm wrong. The Rams feel like, to make a comparison, like that company that just put nose to the grindstone for like a good 5 years, did anything and everything they could. The CEO was sleeping at the facility, doing all possible work to reach the mountaintop. And then they got there, and then once they got there, they didn't know how to sustain, and the company just kind of like knew they were burnt out, and they're just going to kind of let it ride into the ground, slowly but surely. Let that thing tank, and they can always say that they reached a pinnacle, but they just couldn't keep it up. That to me feels like the Rams, and I really am starting to believe if you made me pick, it's just a matter of time before McVay transitions into a TV gig. Aaron Donald retires, Matt Stafford retires, and that franchise is going to be left in a bad spot. Tell me I'm wrong, though, if I am.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base with this. I feel like I could even see like McVay stepping out like mid-season or something like that. He feels like that kind of guy. And maybe that's a wrong read on my end, but I'm just like, maybe he's looking at things. He's like, this isn't going to get any better. Like you said, Brian, they've leveraged their future, and guess what? They got to pay up now. And he doesn't want to tarnish his name with all those losses, with, I don't know, not being able to get it done, when the chips are against you. So I'm with you, man. Definitely not high on the Rams.
Your body, your choice. I'm neutral in that aspect, honestly. But when you're an NFL coach and you've got a team that you're looking after and you're trying to lead them to the promised land, there is no fucking time for kids. I mean, it's unreal. Sean McVay really fucked up.
Matt, you said he could leave mid-season. I say yes, as Bassetti mentioned, his buddy, his choice. If he wants to do that, it's under one condition. Okay.
All right.
You can leave McVay in October, November, but you have to step into the hexagon with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, and I said hexagon with intent. That's the Impact Wrestling ring. I believe, maybe they're an octagon.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, actually.
Is it a TLC?
6-sided, right? Is that? Yeah, 6-sided.
Or just UFC?
And McVay, you just got to last 5 minutes. Last 5 minutes with Donald, and you can walk into the sunset, into your $20 million Amazon gig, whatever it is that's waiting out there. But he's got to be careful. His stock, the more time goes by and they struggle, it goes down. Not that I don't think he still wouldn't get a job in TV, but he's not quite the commodity that he was a year ago. Just the nature of the Rams kind of fading back.
Yeah. I mean, I think his stock's already sank tremendously, right? Like, I feel like every time, when people are talking about the hot new coaches, even though he's done it, he's got to the top of the mountain with his leveraged team. People aren't talking about him in the same way, I feel like. And I mean, that may not be anything to do with him at all. But here's the thing: out of sight, out of mind. So I think that's one of those things. And yeah, like you said, the Amazon thing. Is that offer still on the table? Something like that, even?
Hard to say.
Is he going to go work at Amazon, the warehouse, or
shipping packages?
Prime delivery.
Yeah. Well, this is bottom line. I'll say it again. Sean McVay, it's his body, his choice. I probably wouldn't have kept the baby if I was him. You got an NFL team you're supposed to run. You got to the mountaintop. You peaked. Now look what's happening. You're going to turn into the Houston Texans. Get rid of the kid, man.
It's fatherhood's fault.
his body, his choice. He can do whatever he wants with it.
Turned into an ad for Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
And I didn't expect it to go there, but I never
Man,
anything.
try that in a small town, Bass Daddy. This thing's gonna get fired up on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a little bit, and we'll talk about that small town. Stay tuned.
Okay. Guys, any other teams that Matt? I think you maybe have one floating out there you wanted to talk about.
I got one, maybe a little bit that we can talk about.
Okay.
I mean, we're here, ain't we? We're not going to not mention it. Bass Daddy, I know it's early, but I saw some reports that Kenny Pickett's arm is getting stronger. What do you think about that? I mean, how could it not? You know what I'm saying?
He's zipping her around. He's looking good. Put
Are you
on 15
confident?
pounds of muscle in the offseason.
Wow, juiced up, huh? I feel like the Steelers are getting a lot of hype. A lot of hype.
Well deserved.
Yeah, I mean,
Great
maybe.
draft, great offseason.
We'll see. Does Kenny still have the good hair? That's what I need to know.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's the thing
It's here
like,
to
in my
stay.
eyes that like, you know, okay, Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
But
He's a married man now, and
oh, he is?
Yeah.
What?
Which don't say. I mean, it really doesn't say much. Was Josh Allen married?
Not yet.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, he's safe then. Well, anyways, I guess he's looking pretty good. Darnell Washington. I guess he's putting people on their ass, and Allen Robinson's looking great, I guess. And if we can keep
Who
Deontay
is it,
Johnson,
Allen Robinson? I didn't even know about that.
yeah,
What?
yep,
Wow. Well, we'll see how that goes.
yeah, we'll see.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited to get back in our Steelers talk.
I don't know.
And I know the dear listeners are. I get messages on Twitter weekly about it.
Good, yeah. If you don't like the Steelers on Twitter, do me a favor and eat some shit. Why don't you? Did you hear me?
Do we think
Oh, yeah.
this is let me ask you this. Is this more of a make or break year for Kenny Pickett or Mike Tomlin? And I'm gonna let Bass Teddy answer that first as the diehard fan.
I think he has to be the one to answer it first.
Yeah. I'm not going to put it all on Kenny Pickett. I think that he needs to show progress. He needs to show, a decent stride in being that number one guy. You've seen in the past, what quarterbacks do their first year and then their big second year leap. Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that, and Kenny Pickett didn't have a bad first year. With the play caller he had, he didn't have a bad first year. I'm not saying he had a great first year, but it wasn't bad. I
mean, it wasn't good, but yeah.
Offense, yeah. If the offense if the offense struggles like it did last year, and Tomlin don't get Matt Canada the fuck out of town, then it's all on Tomlin.
So you think they're just going to go back to the OC if it doesn't go well? He's just going to be the fall guy, and we're going to run it back a third time?
I don't know. It's early. It was his first year in the system last year. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. You can go a lot of different ways with it.
We're going to make the playoffs this year. We're going to sneak in a wild card spot.
You think so?
Yeah.
I
know for a fact.
Bold take. That might be the bold take. I could see it.
For a fact, I know that we will be in a wild card spot.
Wow. You're not concerned at all with the just the North taking up all those spots, and then of course the East?
Nope.
Wow. Confidence.
Guys, I was even starting to come around on Cleveland a little bit until Watson opened his mouth this week and he got railed after basically deflecting again, saying like,
you got to be more specific than that with Deshaun Watson. You cannot go talking like that and then
I don't
that leaves the mind to wonder.
I don't have the quote. Okay, I don't have the quote, but I just know he basically said something along the lines of, my ordeal, like going through my ordeal last year. That was, he said, pumped up by the media. And again, that's not word for word, but that was the meat of the bone. And it just, like I said, he got a lot of backlash, probably rightfully so. Doesn't really seem like anything's changed. And who knows, guys? Maybe there is a level of a part of that story we don't know that would make us think differently. I don't know, but either way, he just sounds like the same exact guy that left the field last year, and to me, that's not good because that player was not uh, removed from the incident, and he's going to have to be. If he's not removed from it mentally, it's going to be a problem. They're not going to be any better. If he could get into a better headspace, look, we look at the defense, the talent is everywhere. You can't say that they won't be a competitive team through and against all those. Could be the best division in the league if that's the case. If the Browns can, you know, hold up their end. But
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it tough for Bass and the Steelers, I feel like.
I think the Browns are going to be the same old Browns. They might get lucky and beat us one game. We might split with them. But I think they're going to be the same old Browns, maybe win 8 games. You know, Chubb will be carrying the team. Deshaun Watson will have a mediocre year, you know, getting chanted pervert every game. You know, I don't know.
Hey, is Kareem Hunt, is he signed anywhere to play yet?
mm-mm.
Wow.
Neither is Elliott.
Oh, yeah. He'll probably end up back in Dallas, probably.
Okay, boys,
You don't
real
think?
quick, as we talk about running backs, Matt, you just mentioned Zeke. What? And we touched on this a little last week, but certain things have happened since Saquon did his little contract. Bass Daddy, I want to get your thoughts on what's going on with this running back deal. Like, what's your take? Are they in the right or are they in the wrong? Does it even matter?
Well, my opinion may be similar to both of yours, but I really think that Saquon is a complete moron, and anybody in the future, anybody that currently has him as an agent, probably needs to tell him to just go fuck off. Um, my niece and nephew could have probably got him a better deal. I don't know necessarily about a better deal, but I guess he turned down like a $14 million contract. Turned down getting franchise tagged. Ends up, you know, he might be able to make an extra $900,000 with incentives. And then they didn't go through with the no trade clause to keep this shit from happening next year. I think that his agent is a complete, you know, cum guzzler. I think he's just a complete piece of shit. You know, I'd like to see what Jacobs and Eckler, I'd like to see what they're thinking of this.
And I think those incentives, too, are like, they're really hard to get. They're high level.
Win a Super Bowl for stupid shit.
And I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Saquon already like replaced his prior agent. Like he fired the agent he had and got this person on. I guess it's better than just the tag in terms of he can make more money. But yeah, the big thing for me would have been, can I get it to where next year you can't tag me? Because if this happens again next year, and this is assuming he even has a healthy full season, which is bold.
And he won't.
Odds would suggest probably not. And if he doesn't, that's probably not going to be good for the New York Giants.
And at the same time, is $900,000 extra worth blasting your organization, dropping F-bombs, you know, all that shit? I mean, is it worth it? I mean, it would be worth it to me, but somebody that's going to be,
Right.
you know, multi-millionaire, I don't.
Yeah, and that might get to the bigger point of the whole deal is just, man, it kind of feels like the lid blew off this thing. It started out making sense, and now I'm not sure it's making a whole lot of sense. I don't know that they have a plan, and it could just be that it's too late to do anything that is actually going to create change. Now, that being said, you've got Josh Jacobs holding out. I'm not even sure if anyone else is that I can think of. But yeah, I don't know. It's feeling a little bitchy at this point, and let's just get on with it. Play the hand you're dealt. You're still $10-11 million per season to run the football. Don't be a moron. Have the right people in your corner. You're going to be just fine for the long term. And yeah, that's just kind of it. Matt, you got anything?
No, I mean 100%. It's just not a good time to be running back, right? I mean, just the way the markets are going, the way teams that actually win on the field, they don't have a lot of these top dollar running backs. So I mean, look, I get his frustration, but it is what it is. Like you guys said, play the cards that you're dealt. Um, yeah, actually, on this incentive based contract, is he going to be able to make? Actually, interesting.
He already got the amount that
At
the
least
tag
what
was
he was going
pay
to
him.
make under the
This is
tag,
all.
or is there a
This is
risk
on
that he
top
won't
of
reach
that
that?
if he reaches these incentives. Yeah, just some add-on,
Okay.
900,000 worth. And I would say
So just
there,
some bonus incentives, essentially.
if he's healthy, he'd probably reach them. But that's the
Well,
big.
here's my final take on the situation. If Eckler, Saquon, Jacobs, if you guys are, well, I know you guys are watching. Um, if you wanted to make dick loads of money in the NFL, then you probably should have been a quarterback in college.
Simple fix. Simple
Get
fix.
under center, take some snaps, throw some balls, become a quarterback, make big money. You're a running back, you're not getting paid shit.
And that puts the kibosh on it. Guys, it's that time. Our last piece of the show, the part that some have been waiting for, Dick of the Week. And we always know this is a ride every single time, and especially when Father of Bass is here. And so, Bass Daddy, I'm going to let you start. It's been a long time since you did one of these, so God only knows what you've got in the chamber. But please, cock it and fire.
Dick of the week, Cheryl Crow. You're a
Mm.
bitch. Okay.
Missouri's own.
Jason Aldean's song that just came out. The sucker punch an old lady in the mouth, beat up in a small town. What is it called?
Try that in a small town.
Try that. Yeah, try that in a small town. Just real quick, some of her quotes bashing Jason Aldean and his music. She quotes, "This is not American. Just lame. Not American, not small town like." He even then said, "Even people in small towns are sick of violence." That's bullshit. I'm from a small town. I love violence. It's fucking exciting, and it's entertainment. She even also said that he should know better than anyone, having survived a mass shooting. Okay, that mass shooting didn't happen in a small town. If that shooting happens in a small town, Jason Aldean whoops all their ass. Okay, he's talking about sucker punching, somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking an old lady at a red light. That's America, man. That shit happens. And, the fact of the matter is, you try that in a small town, you're going to get bent over. Okay? Her throwing out the Vegas mass shooting was complete bullshit because, somebody tried that in a big town. So that's completely irrelevant. Okay? Like I said, that shit happens in a small town. Jason Aldean's on it. Somebody's getting their ass beat, and they're going to be drinking beers afterwards. I don't even own a CD player. I don't know if I've ever owned a vehicle that had a CD player in it, but I went out to Walmart, and I bought every fucking CD they had on the shelf just to support his ass. Okay? And I'm with Jason. I know you're listening. I appreciate you, and I stand with you, brother. Cheryl Crow eats shit.
I just imagine
Cheryl Crow
your
sung a
glove
song
box is
about.
loaded down.
Yeah, Sheryl Crow sung a song about getting dicked down by a guy and having a hard time putting his picture in the trash. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Cheryl. You're going to talk shit on Jason Aldean? Get real.
Oh man, I
That's
didn't
all
see
I've got
this
to
coming.
say.
Wow.
Well, hey Matt, before you jump in, I don't have much to say on it other than the song itself. When I first listened to it, I did not even like the lyrics. Didn't bother me. I didn't even really pay attention much to the lyrics. I just the tune in general. That was a really really bad song. Like the song, it was kind of like
It wasn't good.
I'm trying to think. Anytime in your life when you've been like adamant, like I've got to do this, like this project, and your wife or your friends or your family, they're saying like it's okay, like don't let's not do that, let's pivot, let's do this, but you do it anyway, and it turns into a shit sandwich, but you're still proud of it because you put that work in. That's what that song felt like. Like he was just, I'm sure even his bandmates were like, man, I don't know about this. Like they're going through their practice runs. This just doesn't have much of a
Just,
groove to it. Again, that has nothing to do with the lyrics. It's just a tough listen. But other than that, I think everything that Bass Daddy said, there's some validity in that. And I mean, like you said, put the
yeah, it's
picture
like
away.
it's you stay up all night working on a 20-page essay that's due, the next day, and you just slop some shit together, and it turns out you get a D. That's passing grade,
Yeah.
and you're happy about it. And I think that's similar to this situation.
But I am anti. I know there are some who are, Cheryl Crow sounds like she's one of them. I'm not trying to cancel Jason Aldean by any means. If that's everybody's own personal decision. Yeah. But a great all around deal there, Bass Jetty. I think you really.
Well, I also will say this: sucker punching somebody on a sidewalk. Okay, that's pretty fun. But did he really have to talk about spitting in a cop's face or carjacking an elderly woman at a red light? That sounds like shit that he might have done back in high school and might have thought it was a little fun.
Right.
But,
Are those the actual lyrics? Like carjacking
yeah,
it? Oh, I need to listen to this song again.
I'm not going to if I carjack anybody, it will not be anybody over the age of 55, 60. That's elder abuse, and I can't really promote that. But anyways, that's all I've got.
That's a great point actually. Yeah, you got, if you're gonna do it, you might as well get an elderly person. So yeah, good call, Bass Daddy.
Easy.
Another great one, Matt. Your dick of the week.
Guys, I don't know if you've seen this today. It's come out. I was driving around. I heard rumblings about it, so I had to dive in where nowhere else you get better news. Twitter.com, or formerly known as Twitter.com, now X, right? Guys, have you seen? I don't know what to make of this. I don't know if anything is true about it or what. The government has confirmed that they have recovered UFOs, and on said UFOs contained non-human biologics, whatever that means. So first off, either they've had aliens this whole time and they lied to us, or B, they're lying to us now, setting up some sort of weird conspiracy theory. I don't know what to make about it, guys, but apparently, whistleblower inside the government says they're real.
I haven't saw this
Who's
yet.
the dick?
Is this on Netflix?
It's not on Netflix yet, but I assume very soon it's going to be in the next season of Stranger Things. But yeah, just get on Twitter, get on all that sort of stuff. That's where I saw a little bit about it. Apparently, Congress had a hearing over it. I don't know. It's fascinating. So yeah, I mean, per usual, Bass Daddy, like you asked, the government's dick of the week. So either they're a dick for lying
Every
to us all
week.
this time or lying to us now. What are you saying?
They're a dick every week.
Mm-hmm. And I'd tell them try that in a small town. Telling us about aliens.
Wouldn't get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't again saw
Jason Aldean be beating their ass.
anything about this, but it kind of just sounds like maybe they're trying to beat someone else to the punch. Like they know this information's about to get out there, so it's going to look better if we say it. Could be wrong, and they're listening right now, right? A live feed.
100%.
So I'll mince my words and just hope to God that it turns into a great sci-fi. I guess it may not even be sci-fi anymore. That's the wild thing. We might be real deal movies. Um, is there excitement to be drawn from that? Maybe. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be the beginning of the end, or it could be just interesting.
Okay, well, mine is pretty simple and to the point. One you all will be able to relate to. Probably anybody listening to this. Guys, the dick of the week, and I mean very literally this week, it's those UV rays. They are putting a pounding on each and every one of us's ass. And it's like 90 degrees where I'm at, and the heat index is up in the 100 range. And there's the humidity. You can't prepare for it. And I know in the past on this show, I've been a big proponent for AC and coolant, and so I guess that's just baked into my identity at this point. But it's getting me pretty bad. And the step up 3 flights of stairs each time I go in and out of my residence, it's not helping matters. The sweaty ass, and I'm not a naturally sweaty ass type of person, but you just can't fight it in these conditions, and just not a good feeling overall. So yeah, those sun rays, dick of the week, and well deserved if you ask me.
Well, it makes it tough too when it's this hot because then you got to fucking shower more than twice a week, and
Exactly.
and my asshole is honestly it's sore, it's beaten up, and it's ready for fall, ready for a little bit of bonfires and s'mores and shit, and but my asshole is going to be scarred from this heat wave, I believe.
Here's some cream for those hemorrhoids, King. I just handed them over through the.
Well, take it over the hemorrhoids.
Hey. So yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I could think of
Matt,
say
your
is
asshole bleeding, brother?
no. You know what? I got to say, try that in a small town. That's the only thing I can say to that. That's the only thing.
What, your asshole bleeding?
Yeah, try that. See what happens.
I have. Just put a band-aid on and get on with
You already know.
it. Yeah.
Part two.
Yeah.
well, that'll do it. Another W2F behind us. Been fun, boys, and we'll be back. And each time we're back, it's just a little bit closer to NFL kickoff, to us talking about the real deal. And how can you not be excited about that? So hopefully, if you made it this far, we helped you get through your day, get your day started. I don't know, but enjoy it wherever you may be. On behalf of Bryan, Bass Daddy, and Matt, anything else to add before we sign off?
It's been an honor and a privilege.
See you later,
Bye
folks.
bye.
Peace.